both our parents were actually murdered.
Would you have wanted to have more of a relationship with your dad?
No.
Our biggest fight was when we were getting married. I don't remember anything. I don't remember my mom's funeral. I don't remember her. I know my mom from a picture. One of the electric cables from the street, whatever, fell, and she touched it and it got stuck and she was screaming. And there were people who literally looked at us and didn't help us.
Yeah.
Hi guys, how are you guys doing? It's your girl, Boldly Owamie Netshivhazwaulu, aka Miss Pia Focal. And yes, no, you're not on the wrong channel. This is the Centtwinz, and I am taking over.
Yes.
So I'm super excited for this today.
Should we be nervous?
Exactly. You better be.
I am.
She's
very
nervous.
I'm like, oh, I'm so sweet. Why would you be nervous? Which channel have you been watching?
I'm sweet.
I'm entertainment.
Sweet. Please stop. So yeah, if you do not know who I am an entertainment blogger, award-winning at that.
Yes.
And so I know that, we come to this channel mostly to hear other people's stories. And today it was such a great idea that we get to know the people that are behind the scenes and those that are doing the interviews.
Yes.
And, we just discuss.
Phew. Yeah. It's a lot. It's
It
a lot.
is a lot. I think because we've never really spoken about our story. I think we have briefly on some interviews, but never in depth.
Okay.
Never in depth. So Millicent called me and said, look, I've got an idea. I think we should share our story because people don't understand why we have a show called I've Been Through the Most. What's the significance? And she was like, we've been through the most. Why don't we share our story? And I was like, why? Sissy, why would you want that? She's like, I have someone in mind who's going to be a great host and presenter. You were the only option, by the way. There was no
Oh
option.
my gosh, the only, you better listen to that.
There was no plan B, C, nothing.
She was going, we are going to fetch her.
So this is why today we're just deciding to share, parts and elements of our story. There's a lot to it, but we want to focus on our parents, right?
Yeah.
Where you come from. No, that is great. I think that you did touch on something that is very important in terms of, at first when I was watching you guys this channel, the time that you guys used to be like behind the scenes, because I would know the Centtwinz, but I didn't know it was actually you guys at first when I started, because I didn't get to watch like exactly from the beginning, but the stories were always just so touching. And so I think that when I now found out that actually you guys are behind, the Centtwinz, I was like, they have perfect lives. Like,
No.
what? Like, what? And so I think that is really great that you are deciding that you're going to open up. I'm sure that it will make you guys also bond more with some of your followers.
100%.
So today we're going to mainly focus on your parents, your upbringing. They were nervous, but don't worry, I won't derail. Actually, you can relax.
Calm down.
Yeah, you can relax. So I think that maybe just walk me through, you guys maybe being born, where you grew up. And so, that's the first thing that I would like to know.
Cool. So we were born and bred in Pretoria, and then we were raised Mamelodi. We were raised by our grandparents. But in the beginning, basically, my mother gave birth to me and my sister. She was 22. And then she gave birth to us on the 30th of January. And then unfortunately, 4 years later, she passed away. We're 4 years old. It was 1992 when she passed away. And then our grandparents took over in raising us. We're not raised by my father. My father was in prison then. And I think maybe the significance of us just around her death comes with a lot of drama on its own, because both our parents were actually murdered. They were killed. They didn't just die from
Natural
causes, sickness or anything. It was through people that they knew. Some, I don't know if with my mom, but it's basically like people in their circle who basically wanted to end their lives. And then our father passed away in 2007. We were still in school, I think. Yeah, we're still in school. I think you're in matric, ne? Yeah. And our parents were quite popular, extremely popular. Our mom was very beautiful. She was like, I mean,
She was like the celebrity and the influencer of her time. I think even now, many years later, the only thing that people remember her for was how strong she was, how beautiful. People look at us and say, "You guys have nothing on your mom."
And I'm
your
like,
mom
what?
was just like unreal. She was very beautiful. She was very exclusive. She had very
Exclusive
good quality,
taste.
exclusive taste, expensive taste. She used to dress, only clothes from boutiques, and at the time that was not so popular, but she did. She traveled a lot. Like I said, she was an influencer. Very well traveled. So she would go to Mauritius. Like she traveled the world.
She was the girl she thought she is.
Exactly. She drove at a young age. Our grandfather was a school principal. Our grandmother was a school teacher. So she was the only girl. So our grandparents gave birth to boys. All our uncles are boys. My mom was the only girl, the only flower.
So she got it all.
She got it all, literally. So being that, there were people who were jealous of her, people who didn't like her, and then now she dated this guy who was also popular, tall, handsome, very intellectual. My dad was super intelligent. He was an academic. He was a fundi. He was a researcher. Mr. Know-it-all, multilingual, spoke every language you could think of.
So smart.
And so our parents they were just exclusive people like that. My dad was much older.
How much older?
We don't even know, but much older. Like our sister is in her 50s and we're in our 30s. So our sister is much older than us. So that's our half sister, by the way. So my father was way older than my mother.
Okay. Slay Queen, honey.
Slay Queen vibes. I'm like, come here, daddy.
Oh, that is such a beautiful story. And I mean, guys, if people are saying your mom, you guys have nothing on your mom.
Yes.
Oh my I need to see her pictures because I'm just like,
she
was gorgeous. To a point where, like, there are some people who stole her pictures from our house. Yeah. People stole her clothes. They stole pictures of her.
We have such little history of her. You know what the saddest part is? I know I'm fast forwarding, but fast forward to her death, and the only thing we had was her funeral video, right? Which our grandfather was like, there has to be a video, and then they videographed everything, and someone took that. They took it away from us, and unfortunately we have no memories of that day. Well, I don't know if you remember some events of that, but all that is taken away because there's just something about my parents that people just can't get enough of. But there was just an obsession. I remember there was an obsession about the toys that we had,
that she bought. They stole them as well.
There were these teddy bears, but it was just like everything. There was an obsession around things that were happening. But I want to take you through the story of leading to the death of our mom.
Yeah.
Right? My mom had broken up with my dad, met another gentle brother.
Of course.
Cute, honey. Who was also cute.
I think now you can understand the kind of girl. So that guy, they dated, and then he proposed marriage to her. So they were about to get married in a week's time. My mom was at their home. So there was, I think
So before that, this man, right? He, people say, was a player.
Okay.
He was cute, fine. So he had promised somebody else to marry her.
Okay.
Right? So then didn't marry that lady. Had kids with this lady, I think, and then now met with my mother, gorgeous girl, and he's like, okay, we're getting married. Now, obviously, this lady is having a problem that, no, you're supposed to get married to me.
Yeah.
Then they set up the lobola date. This guy is now supposed to come to my house to pay lobola. The lady finds out, she phones our home, which is a landline. My grandmother answers the phone, and then the specific lady, so I'm not sure if it's the same lady who they promised to marry or it's another lady, but a lady calls my grandmother and says, the lobola is not going to happen. The marriage between your daughter and this man is not going to happen.
Okay.
And then my grandmother just made nothing of it. She was like, okay, that's rather dramatic. Didn't make anything of it. The following weekend was supposed to be the wedding. My mother is at the guy's house preparing for the lobola. She's cleaning the house. She's doing everything. But unfortunately, she doesn't make it out of the house that day. the weekend that was supposed to be her lobola became her funeral.
Wow.
So that was the saddest part. So how do we then trace what happened? To this day, Owami, we don't know what happened in that house.
The question that I would have is, obviously, first of all, I'm really so sorry for your loss. The question that I would have is, was she like
Injured?
Yeah,
Nothing.
was
No,
there any
nothing.
injuries?
No.
She was as pretty as she was, just on the floor. No harm, no
nothing.
beating, no nothing, no choking,
Postmortem.
nothing. And there was a person in the house, but it was a man. He was blind.
The father
so he's
of
the
the
father
guy.
of the guy. He was outside. He's a blind man. And when they asked him, "Do you know what happened?" And the only thing he said was that she came out of the house and said, "There's a strange cloth on my car." I don't know if it was her car or whoever, but there's a
story is
strange cloth
weird, but
on
okay.
the cloth. One of the mysterious stories that we hear, and that was it. That was the last time he heard her speak.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, like, the fact that your mom passed and nobody really can explain to you guys what
Yes.
happened.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
just said
And
she
you
was
guys-
choked by electric cable.
Electricity.
She was cleaning and then the cable.
They say so. It's a story that was made up, so nobody really knows. Maybe they know, maybe they're not telling us. Only now, when we're older, there are some people who say, "You guys don't know," insinuating that how can you not know?
No. And then we say, but she was choked by the phone. No, that's not what happened. Okay, other people are like, it's witchcraft. Okay, was it witchcraft? They're like, no. So
Yeah.
it's weird.
Have you ever like had a sit down with your grandparents to ask, and what answer did they give you?
Same story, the electricity story.
Yeah.
that
But
she was
it's
choked
obvious
by
that you guys
electricity.
don't believe that. Like, what I'm
Yeah.
trying to find out is like the emotional aspect of it, knowing that, okay, I do have my mom who passed away. You guys have got all these great stories about her, and I'm sure that she was the it girl.
Yeah.
She was the influence of that time, and I
Yeah.
do feel that you guys actually hold the twin spot. Nobody
Yeah.
is doing it better than you guys. And so I'm sure that you guys would love, maybe to have like certain advices from your mom and stuff.
Absolutely.
So like the emotional aspect of it, having to go through life, not really knowing what happened to your mom. I would like you guys to answer this individually.
Yes.
The emotional impact that has had on you. What would you
Yeah.
say?
I think it caused a lot of trauma for me personally. My first couple of years as a child, I don't remember them at all. I literally have bits and pieces. Like, I get shocked when someone says, at my 4th birthday party, this happened. I'm like, how do you remember when you're 4? Like, people have those memories. It's completely wiped out. I think I can only remember right now, the only memory I have is of my 20s. I'm in my 30s now. I only have my 20s. Earlier than that, it gets erased. Like, every single time. I don't know if it's the trauma aspect. And I noticed in my adulthood that I'm trying to tell my kids stories. I don't remember any of my birthday parties. I don't remember nothing. Like, in primary, maybe I have like bits and pieces. Like, there's just so much trauma like around that is just affecting us in different ways, I guess. But I think now that we're older, we have so many questions that are unanswered. But there's something very weird about it. Nobody wants to talk about my mother. But I get that they were also very broken and hurt. She was only 26 when she died. She was a baby, And I remember having so much fear at 25. Owami, weirdest thing. I was like, I'm going to die at 26. In my head,
That's where life ends.
ends.
Because her
And
life ended.
yes, and when 26 passed, I was like, oh, okay, I didn't die. Same with my kids. When my kids turned 4, I was like, they're not going to have a mother. In my head, it is crazy. But that is what I had to deal with.
Have you ever like gone to therapy for that?
No,
Not really, no. I wouldn't call it therapy, but not really, no.
we've never.
I think because we have
Okay.
so many questions, and I feel like my therapy will start when I have clearer answers.
Yeah, it's almost like unfinished business for us. It's always been like a mandate to say one day we'll do proper research, even for my dad. But just to answer your question on my behalf, I think it's very similar to me. It's the memory loss for me. And I didn't realize it until I was married, until I had kids, until I spoke to my husband and he told me stories about himself. I'm like, how do you remember that? I don't remember anything. I don't remember my mom's funeral. I don't remember her. I know my mom from a picture. I don't know her as a person like
all.
this. I have zero memories of my mom. Yes, I was 4, but I can't even tell you who she was. Someone could have hypothetically shown us a wrong picture that's not her, and I would think it's her. You know, I don't remember my primary, high school, bits and pieces. Everything is gone. People's names, people's faces, and someone would be like, you sure you don't remember? I'm like, no. My memory just so I don't know
Switches
whether
off.
it's trauma, like Millie said, but that's one of the things that I can say. Electricity as well. I don't touch anything electrical. I don't touch the box. I don't touch the main switch. I don't touch none of those things. Anything that has to do with electricity, I don't. I don't want my kids to touch it. I don't want my kids to be associated with it.
Because that's all we knew, that
that's
my
all we
mother
knew.
got electrocuted and she died. And unfortunately, my sister was electrocuted as well.
Yeah.
When we were younger, we also have bits and pieces of that memory. And one of the electric cables from the street, whatever, fell, and she touched it and it got stuck and she was screaming. And there were people who literally looked at us and didn't help us.
Yeah.
So I tried to help her.
And you got electrocuted.
I got
as well.
electrocuted, but eventually we're fine, thank God. And then years later, my child gets electrocuted by a generator, and literally, oh my
Ends
gosh,
up
it
in
was trauma.
hospital.
I remember that time. I think I called
You did.
I called
Yes,
her.
you did.
And I was like, hey, can I send
That was
flowers?
sweet. Thank you.
And the reason for that was because I knew obviously you were sharing bits and pieces on social media.
Sissy, I'm
but I
sorry.
knew that obviously, that she was really going through a lot.
Yes, she
So
was.
just maybe for some of you guys that may not know, we
Yes.
did meet for the first time in Cape Town.
Yes.
And you guys are the sweetest people ever. I won't lie. And I was just joking with my friend and I was saying, it's so ironic that God knew that there's so much evil in the world that he
Yes.
couldn't just give us one of you guys.
that's
That's how sweet and kind you guys are. He was
Yeah.
we need 2 of them,
Yeah.
to try balance the evil that is actually out there,
Oh, shame.
And
Sorry,
so
sis.
I actually
Yeah.
do get it. I'm sorry. So
Yeah. So I think it was really personal, especially with the son. I think just with the trauma and that we were not there, and just getting there. He's small, he's vulnerable, and and he's gone through the most as well. It's just been a year and a half. Not that, I don't know. I don't want to tell your story, but yeah.
It was a lot. It just felt like something is just there, just following us. It was just a lot. It was just too much. And it had just been a year since, we've lost my mother-in-law, and my kids don't have a grandmother. They don't have a grandfather. They don't have both paternal, maternal. And I remember just having a conversation with God. I'm like, we can't go through anything more than this. It's enough. It's a wrap. We can't. And then when that happened, I just felt no, not with my kids. It's personal now,
Don't touch me.
Don't touch my
It
kids.
started on our birthday. Millicent was diagnosed with
urticaria.
urticaria, which is a skin disease, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, then the son got electrocuted. Then Khanya had to go for an operation, for surgery.
For umbilical hernia, which we also had. So
yeah.
it just felt like
all 3 people were in hospital. It was
It was
crazy.
a
It
lot.
was surgery after surgery.
it was a
And then
lot.
the son also got diagnosed with
yes. So the same boy who got electrocuted was diagnosed with vitiligo this year. So which there's a tissue. Thank you. And I even forget the vitiligo one, maybe because it doesn't have pain, because the other ones I'm like, no, my kids can't go through physical pain, so that one's a skin condition. He's basically turning white. Basically he's got white spots all over his body, and I was just like, this is a lot. This is too much.
I actually do remember that, because remember the moment I saw that you made a video to us to say a
Yes.
dermatologist, I also made a video
Yes.
actually saying, guys, if you
I
know
saw,
a good
thank you,
dermatologist,
yeah.
that deals with the skin
Yes.
condition, let's help,
Yeah.
because I do know that a lot of people have said that it can be stopped.
Yes.
However, some doctors can maybe be able to
Reverse
help
Slow
in
down,
terms of
yeah.
slow it
Yes.
down. And so when
I
I
think that was
saw
so nice to see. We met her only once in Cape Town.
Yeah.
But you did reach out. You wanted to buy flowers. You wanted to ask
Yeah.
how you could help. That really meant a lot. Thank you. And not a lot of
I
people
think when
did
you're on
that.
TV, people think you are not human.
yeah.
And then they just think you're just a human, you are immune, and they feel like everything you do for attention. And it's not the case. I'm just generally a very open person. I think everybody knows my journey, my kids, whatever struggle I go through, I just post. I'm just like a very open person. And I feel like people can relate to me because of that. I won't just post perfection. You know, I won't just like post, oh, let's go to Diamond Walk and buy LV bag and fabulous. No. My lows are my lows, and you get it as it is.
And that's why I love you guys. Honestly, that's why I love you guys, because I feel like I'm also the same.
Yeah.
And some people are like, oh, you're too open. I'm like, guys, I have nothing to hide.
Yeah.
This is life.
This
you
is
know,
what
our
it is.
lives is on social
open,
media.
yes.
And so I do find it to be a bit unfair to only share the positives
Exactly.
and
Thank
never
you.
the negatives, because now someone is sitting like, why is my life not like Owami's? Why
Because
my life
Owami's
is
so
not
perfect,
Do you get
right?
what
On
I'm saying?
Instagram.
But you need to know, hey, we cry, you know.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
You know. But I
Siyakowisha,
am,
babes.
you know, but I am happy that at least right now it does seem like, you know, the storm is over.
Oh, honey, God is good. God is so good. Things are really good. Things are, you know what, they're really good. God
They're
answers
much better.
prayers. You know, they're much, much better. And we're just taking it a day at a time.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah.
And also, I almost forgot. So we had actually held our story, you know, because we had so many interviews with different producers, you know, for reality shows, and to go and find our family, do like a proper investigation. But what happened with certain events that happened, especially with my dad, that's mysterious, because he didn't raise us. Our grandparents were very strict. Very, very strict. And they didn't want to see my father at all because of the kind of lifestyle that he chose. Yesterday, I actually had a conversation with our older sister. We told her we're doing the interview, and she was like, I was like, what's the word you can describe your dad? Is he like a gangster? Is he like a swindler? Is he like a criminal? And then, you know, she said something interesting, because she said he was a mastermind.
Yeah.
And I said, you're right, because he was too smart. He was too intelligent. Like I said, you know, he was like, I don't know, my dad he was a doctor, he was a lawyer, he was everything. He was extremely well, I don't know, educated or informed, well informed.
And used to journal everything. Now we vloggers. I mean, that's crazy. He literally documented his entire life. And then that got stolen as well. But I thought that was very interesting that at the time vlogging wasn't a thing, but he documented it because he was such an academic.
Yeah.
But here's a funny story.
Mastermind. So he used it in the wrong way. He
Professor.
chose, you know, type of best.
older brother.
Exactly. You know, he chose that lifestyle. And instead of him doing the actual crimes or, you know, all of those crazy things
just
that he
the
did,
mastermind
he was
behind
the
it.
mastermind behind all of those things. And he just sit back and,
I remember there used to
watch
be
the
helicopters,
fire.
and they're like, oh, they're looking for your dad. Got a helicopter because
Yes.
And Charlie listen,
Yeah.
he would be sitting in his house, but you would not find him in his house.
We
because he
went
was
to
so
go looking
smart.
for my dad, and he looked at us through his cameras, because he had cameras
And he
everywhere.
didn't open for us.
And he didn't open for us.
And that was like back then.
Yes. And we were young, because we escaped from our grandparents, because we were like, we want
ran
our
away.
father, because they didn't want us to have a relationship with, obviously, because
So we
of
heard
the
he's
life we
out
had.
of prison. They were like, we're going.
And once that was life in us, because he was, most of the time he was in prison. So the one time we heard he's out, we're like, we're gonna look for him. We found his house. We found that, yes, we could see there's cameras, and they had told us he's all about surveillance. So he's gonna check who you are first before you open the gate. We
Girl,
stood at
did
that-
you not
did
leave
we not
us?
jump? Did
Like,
we not
hey,
jump that gate? We jumped his security gate. That's how desperate we were to just have a father, to just have a relationship.
He
with
opened
him.
and he just laughed like,
Yeah.
I know you guys are my kids.
Yo, wait, jump the gate.
A bit of so you guys have got that, you know, blood of it.
Oh yeah. No.
So wait, for
we
how many
gangster.
years was you guys in prison? I mean, your
Sure.
dad.
I'm not sure. Hey,
almost
most
all our lives, eh?
yeah.
He was in and out. He was
in and out.
He was in and
But I wanted to share a funny story. Sorry, we talk a lot. So there was a time when he was in court, ne? And then I think it was like a bank robbery scene or something like that. He was in court. They're playing the evidence on the camera. That my guy, that's you. Can I tell you, he walked out innocent. He convinced the judge and everybody there that's not him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a proper mastermind.
And he walked out, and the judge actually spoke on the day of his funeral. He's like, to this day, I'm like, how did this guy come out?
Yeah. No, he
Proof
was
was
great.
there, but he's still
Oh no.
So it was kind of like Beauty and the Beast.
Literally.
Your mom and your dad.
Yeah.
The movie.
No, it was that. Our dad also got murdered, as we said, because of his mastermind tricks and his dealings and his choices in life. He chose the dark side of life. I don't know what to call it, but the wrong side of the law. Eventually,
His friends.
his friends killed him. So they tortured him. They electrocuted him.
There goes the electricity story again.
Yes.
Exactly. They electrocuted him.
Trauma.
They put him in a black plastic bag and they threw him under a bridge. And luckily, someone saw there was something being thrown in a bridge. And then someone called the police. I think a few hours later, the police came. They found him. He was still alive. Thank goodness. I mean, he was
is
a
like-
muscular man.
oh
big,
my
So he
goodness.
survived that.
I don't know how. Like they thought he's dead. I don't know how
Yeah,
he
they
survived
thought they'd
that.
finished him. And then they took him to hospital. He was there, I don't know,
For a
ICU,
very long
whatever, for a
time.
very long time. So they thinking he's dead at this point. Then they heard that we saw him or heard that he's in hospital.
Yeah.
So the same guys went into hospital
To finish him off.
and then they, I don't know,
They,
cut
something
his
to his
head.
head.
They did something.
Yeah.
I don't know what they did, but they did something to his head, or they cut him, or they did whatever, or bamukapile, I don't know. But they did that to him at the hospital bed, and then, yeah.
And
that's
Innocent was in matric at the time, and I remember we went to go see my father, and then, oh my gosh, it was horrible because we were writing exams. Like, I think if you can look at that report, you'll understand that we're going through the most.
Yeah.
I am like, what? My sister was a prefect, and then it's like, what we had to go through that year is just like a story for another day. But we literally at the time stayed with, I would describe a monster, like, but we'll talk about that another day. I think just the death of my father was just like, when you accept that you don't have both parents, the reality of physically not having them there. Although we didn't have a relationship with him, but we were almost untouchable. Like nobody would mess with us because they were scared of my dad. They knew my dad. And then when we was not there, we literally felt like our
feel.
safety is compromised.
Not
now.
even. You're an orphan now.
Yeah,
That was the
it
hardest
was
part for me.
crazy.
I was like, you don't have to be part of my life. But now that you're gone, now I really don't have parents. Now I'm an orphan. Like it's over. You have Gogo and our grandfather, which our grandfather also passed away. We still have our grandmother. She's 88 years of age.
Wow.
Girl
She's
is
our rock,
so-
our shield,
so
our
shining
everything.
and cute and
There's
everything.
no Centtwinz without our grandmother. Our
Yeah.
grandmother means the world to us. She
Yeah.
is our pillar. She's the one who raised us, and she is like our bloodline. Literally, I feel like
She's
my
holding
source
on
of
by
life.
a thread because right now I think she's just enjoying just what the grace of God has done in our lives.
Yeah.
And she's just like hanging. She is so sick, but she's like
And
hanging in there.
she always does her goodbyes. Like the other day, she said she's dying. I'm like, girl, you ain't going nowhere. Every
You've
day.
been saying that for 10 years,
Every day
grandma.
she's dying. She's been saying that. She's been doing her goodbyes. But she knows that we are like hanging on to her. She's hanging on to us. And this is our chapter. We made a decision to live our lives. We made a decision to write our own story. We made a choice to not live like orphans, but to live like superheroes in this world. We find strength in each other.
Yeah.
We find strength in our older sister, who's a great support system to us. My dad's kids, most of them died through murder. They've murdered them. The only ones who are standing is myself and Millicent and our older sister, who's the firstborn to my dad. And but our outlook to life is so different. We don't let the trauma, we don't let the background, we don't let what we've been through sort of define our lives. We just live our lives like
Like
it's
it's
okay,
golden. And
you
I know
know?
people see us on TV and they're like, oh wow, do you know, before my mom passed away, she took us to an audition.
Wow.
And we got the job, but we never got to shoot because who was going to take us to Joburg because she was gone.
She was the only woke one.
So you're actually like living out the
Yeah,
dream
her
that your
dream,
mother
100%.
had.
Without
100%.
us even knowing, we didn't even know.
Apparently there was a festival in Mamelodi at some point and my mom heard that Brenda Fassie was there. She ran to Brenda Fassie and she said, oh my gosh, I have the cutest kids and I want them to be on TV. And Brenda Fassie said to her, get them an agent. And she got us an agent. We got an audition, we got the job, but we never got to shoot and we never got to be child
We
stars.
never even got to be there, or I'm not even arrive on set. That's why it was done.
But look at you guys now. You run from set to set.
You understand. But you know what?
We've
By the
fought.
grace of
Yeah.
God,
We've fought to
yes.
make that happen. Even with education, like with varsity, I took myself to varsity. I went to after all 4 years of it. After it's like 100K a year.
paid for herself.
I worked, study, work and study at the same time. I had to make it work. I was like, this thing of DMing people and sending long emails
Doesn't
about your
work.
fees, it doesn't work.
It does
It
not.
just doesn't work. Like, you have to pander. You need to make things happen in life, eh?
Yeah, no, you definitely do. And I think that obviously today we were mostly focusing on your parents, but
Yeah.
I honestly would like a part 2 where we just talk about your journey and like
Yes.
your success, because I feel success stories honestly like inspire me so much, because some people like they believe, I can just sit and maybe I will ask somebody on the internet to help me. Nobody's coming to save you.
Hey.
The moment you actually realize that,
Yo.
I realized that when I was 23 years old, like that,
Sure.
you know what, nobody's coming to save me, and then you definitely had to. But now the question that I honestly want to hear from you guys, maybe let me say both individually, is that you guys did say that your dad was someone that was quite dangerous, and also looking at the fact that his other kids were murdered.
Yes.
It might also be related to maybe people that were trying to get to him, or maybe they also inherited some of his dealings. And you're saying that your grandparents were very strict,
Yeah.
and they did not want you guys to have a relationship with your dad. Let's say now you're an adult. If you were to go back and you had a say, would you have wanted to have more of a relationship with your dad?
No,
I would.
100% not.
Okay.
I would.
I think no. I think I'm proud of my grandparents for protecting us, because I don't know where we would be.
Okay.
Because maybe my father loved us, yes, but maybe even him not having a relationship with us was protecting us.
Yeah.
Because he knew what he was doing, and I'm grateful for that. I wouldn't have it any other way. I look at movies where the dad is dangerous and the kids how they have to be so but and I'm grateful. I wouldn't change anything about it. Would I have loved to have a relationship with him? Yes, but am I glad that maybe some of his people don't even know us?
Yeah.
Only the close net? Yes, 100%.
Your
Yeah, I
answer
think,
was different.
it was different. I think, everybody wants a father. And I think just looking at my kids and the relationship they have, with my husband, it's just so beautiful. I just wish I had that fatherly thing. It's very different. Your grandfather and your father are two different people.
Yeah.
Yes.
The same way your grandmother and your mother, they can be as amazing as they want to you. It's not the same.
Yeah.
So I wish I enjoyed that greatness, that great personality, that academic man. I just honestly wish we had more time with him, and he played his part. But unfortunately, that's not our reality. But yeah, I think I would have loved to.
And so the man that your mom was supposed to marry,
Yeah,
is he still alive? Where is he? Did you guys ever have a relationship with
Girl.
him?
Good
that's
question.
a very good question. So what happened was that guy ended up committing suicide.
And killing himself and his
wife.
Yes, he got into a car and put on gas, locked the car, and I don't know, set the car on fire
Yeah.
or allowed the gas to kill something dramatic like that. And that's how his life
How many years
ended.
was it after your mom passed?
Just a lot of years, I think. Later,
Okay.
he had moved on, and his life had gone on, and we sort of didn't have any relationship with him.
Yeah,
Okay.
zero.
And then we basically just heard, this guy killed himself and whatever, and we're just like, yeah.
Did you guys
and
have any-
most people around, or even everyone who was involved in my dad's murder, apparently, allegedly,
Yeah.
some of them are crazy, some of them have killed themselves, some have died, some have, there's just all this drama. And even allegedly, the people involved in my mom's death, same thing happened. And when that happened with the ex, or I don't know ex, but because at the time they were not separated, people were like, this is like, I don't know,
Their lives are
a mess.
And what about the lady that the suspicion was
Yeah.
that she's the one that called and said,
Yes.
this is not going to happen.
She called again, actually, after my mom died and said, we are done with your daughter. Yes, before my grandmother even knew that her daughter is dead, my mom is dead.
Yeah.
They called and said, we done.
Do you guys know her?
No. I'm sure she knows us.
Definitely.
She knows us, and I hope she's watching.
If she's still alive.
That's
Yeah.
a big if,
Big
though.
if,
A big if.
It remains a mystery. They try to investigate. Our grandparents spent all their money.
Yeah.
Literally
All.
They spent thousands and thousands until they were tired of spending
Yes.
on the death of my mom to try and find out what happened to our precious little girl. And they couldn't get answers, and they were just left with the trauma of just burying their 26-year-old. And I think that's why it was so difficult for them to speak about her. That's why we have so many questions.
Nobody speaks about
it was
my
such
mom.
a trauma to them. Like, it's even difficult for our uncles to say, oh, you look like your mom today.
Yeah, no one talks about
like when
her.
they say that, you can literally feel a cold going down. Like, it took a lot for them to say, wow, you look like my sister today. And that's the end. And you will not hear anything.
No discussion.
Better.
No, she was like this. No, nothing. Like, I mean, my mom is like, she doesn't exist. Like, it's a sensitive topic.
We now we're quiet, we're awkward.
Yeah, but I also have a question.
Yeah.
Like, how do you guys feel about that? Like, I know that now you're older, because I know that when you were growing, I think it was like that, because I'm also in the same situation when my mom passed. You know, my aunt and my uncle, they never talk about her. And nobody wants to.
I think
it's
the same for them.
Yes, I understood that now that I'm
as an
older.
adult,
but as I was growing, I was like, yo, I never cared about her. Nobody's gonna talk about my mom.
It's because they loved her so much.
Yes.
That's why I understood that. I understand that.
Did you guys
now.
understand, like, when you were younger?
No.
When you were younger, you just felt like
it's
weird. I think that's what also made us close with our Kero, our older sister.
Because she talks about her all the time.
Because they were so close. We asked her, how's our mom? How did she talk? And she would literally do this to her mouth. Like, she would tell us everything, because nobody talks about her. And our older sister, like, she would tell us, this is how she walked, this is how she looked. She had curves like you guys, and she had a small waist. She spoke like this. She did this. She laughed this. And we enjoy that, because that's all that we have of her.
Yeah. Do you guys still visit? Do you guys visit your parents' graves?
With my father, it's a little bit difficult because he was Muslim. So we're not even allowed in the graveyard during his funeral. So I sort of don't even know where it is. But now my older sister is putting in a tombstone, so we're going to go there. With my mom, it's very, very difficult for us to go there. We try and go. We did take our kids once. And I always feel so bad when people say, oh, you take flowers as a memory. I'm like, yo, guys, it's easier said than done. Like, there's just so much trauma. Like, when I think about it, you know, my older sister was actually saying, for years, I kept saying, why did they put her in the ground? If you guys said she's going to heaven, she's supposed to go that way. Why is she going the opposite direction? You guys actually took her to hell. So for me, it just, that the graveyard has such a bad vibe and feeling about it. But we have to do it for healing, I guess. So we actually just, it's an intentional thing that we try to do.
We should do it. I'm glad you brought it up. We should do it, more often. I mean, she was special. I remember her casket was peach.
Wow.
Marble
so
peach. It was made of marble. That's how she was, just like,
fabulous.
That girl, you know. And apparently we cried and we were talking to her and we were telling her, get out. They're closing you in that box. And we were talking to her, you know, when they showed us our mom in the casket, we were like, we don't know why they took you out. Were they taking you away from us? Because obviously he has not been there for 4 days before the funeral. We're like, where have you been? Now you are sleeping in there. Get out. You know, we were just like shouting at her, like, why are you sleeping? Why are you not talking to us? It was just a lot, you know. But I'm glad her soul is resting in peace by the grace of God. And then we are okay. We are fine. We're happy. God has blessed us. I always say to my grandmother, Coco, yes, they took one of your daughters, but God bless you with 2 daughters. You get to see your grandkids, you get to see your grandkids. Like, there's nothing that we can't ask from God. There's nothing that we can't be grateful for. So we're blessed and
blessed us
with
grateful. Beautiful families, you know, with amazing husbands and amazing talented kids.
Thank you,
so
my love.
great. You know what? I'm like, the reason he's not calling Kat, he's waiting to be mentioned.
Shout out to our husbands.
As well, obviously going towards the end, I would like to just ask, how would you say that having a twin has helped you through everything that you guys have gone through? Because I do feel like we only touched the surface. One day I need to know the story of what happened the year your dad passed, because you speak of something else. But I would like to just know, to say, okay, how did you, having a twin, you know, impact obviously everything that you were going through?
It was everything. That's the
Everything.
best way to describe it. It was everything. God knew we were gonna need each other.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have made it without my sister.
Oh,
like
yeah.
my sister is like to this day like my reason for just doing everything I do every single day. Like because I know it would have been so difficult for me to be where I am without her. Like I was like, God is intentional. When they say
Yes.
God is intentional, whether that song is intentional, I know with us He knew you guys are gonna need each other because you are about to face a storm.
Yeah.
I shame did we
It's
not
about
hold
to
it,
be the
like,
two of you
hold
guys.
me, hold me.
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. I don't know how
Yeah.
many times I said I can't do it, but we did it because we're together.
Absolutely nothing.
Oh, you guys will make me cry.
And we're still doing
I now wish I had a
it.
twin, myself. But and you guys, like, this is the
You
question
have a
that
beautiful sister, though.
I do. I have two actually, baby sisters. Yeah, Ray's mom who birthed me, my child, who I love more than all of them. Ray's number one. Everybody knows. Like, I'm just like, okay, I have two sisters, and then I have a baby. Yeah, but I want to know, like, as sisters,
Yes.
we fight. You guys, the way you're so close, because you're together, you work together and everything. I want to know, what is the biggest fight you guys have ever had? And if you're
a
comfortable
fighter.
sharing, you see, it has started.
She is the ultimate fighter.
Okay.
But I've accepted her the way she is. She's
Okay.
a special child because she's so pedantic. She's a perfectionist and she's extremely emotional. So I've learned to live around her. She can be physical too. Sometimes she beats me up.
What?
Yeah. What? When?
The slap.
No, she does. And then she comes with the nails. I'm like, and then she comes to apologize. She cries. Sissy, I'm sorry. I'm like, it's okay, Sissy. You have no memory, no recollection.
No recollection.
I cannot accept or deny
Like,
these
no.
accusations.
I don't.
What?
Accusations.
She's like a
False
cat.
accusations. You know
No.
that
No,
sound.
but I know I'm 100% fighter. I'm my
She
I'm my
is. She's
dad's
a
child.
fighter.
I'm my mom's child.
is.
I am a hectic. Like
Ask me and her
always even
husband.
tell my husband, I'm like, we are strong. I respect you because wow, I'm
Yeah.
a lot. I know that, but I like it's for me. Like I fight for good things.
Yeah.
Like I have a lot of good in me. I think I'm just
Yeah.
an extremist.
100%.
I'm just like such an amazing person.
You are.
You definitely are.
Yeah,
and
but
that's
we
what I
definitely
found, like,
fight.
in terms of
But we
people
definitely
that are
do fight.
emotional.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's like there's
Yes.
so much passion in
Oh,
it.
yeah.
In everything.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot.
Yes.
Thank you.
Uh,
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
point. You're on point.
So why do you fight me when you fight me?
Do I fight you, Sissy?
I know I'm the sweetest person.
This question, I literally was like, this is, even if I don't ask any other question, this one I need to know. What do you guys fight about?
No, we
Because
fight a lot.
anytime
We
you
do.
actually see them guys, like,
we
it's
fight a
they're
lot.
matching.
Yeah, we
Like,
love
But
each
our
other.
fights last for seconds.
Yeah.
We love each other
Too
so
much.
much
Yeah.
that even when I've hurt her, I
You
will
hurt.
apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hurt. You're right. I hurt. And
Yeah.
vice versa. We know how to humble ourselves very quick. And we get back
Yeah.
together like we were never apart.
Yeah.
You guys are so
Oh,
sweet.
actually, I need to answer your question
Okay.
since we're closing. Our biggest fight was when we were getting married. So
Who was getting married?
no, my sister, I think you got married first, ne? Because we had to accept that we are now getting married and then she's leaving. And I think I had never in my life
Thoughts.
been so angry and upset and just I was just like bitter. I was like, what? Why? It's not necessary. Who are men? We found men here. We're born together. Be separated by strangers. What? What? No.
Wait, were you like forever in her house before you also got married?
We're always together, you
We're
know.
always
So for
together.
me, it was just
Like
like
Jola together. Both Jola and one, we both in your car.
you buying double food, double
Yes,
yonkinto
double
in your car.
everything.
Say
When she
again, I
was
say
dating her
too.
husband, he used to pick me up like Zwab. You marry one, marry all.
Now I'm interested in actually
now,
having an interview
even
with your
now,
husband.
yes,
Even
exactly.
now.
Even
How
now.
does it? Yeah, because I know you guys are
when he
forever
buys
together.
groceries, the husband he includes something. Says this I
Mara-
eat for Innocent
Why
house.
can I take it ngapha nangapha?
Yes,
Bona
buy
yashuba.
airtime together. Yes. They have two wives. I call him my first husband, second husband. Vice versa with them, they've got two wives.
They even look alike, yo. Like, I'm not even going to
They
lie.
hate that so much.
if you do not just know and they're coming and you don't know who is Millie, who is Innocent, they can practically be brothers
And
for
they
real.
literally like brothers. Thank God.
We love dark chocolate, honey.
I see.
And we love men from the north.
The further you are, the better. Far, far away.
No, I feel like obviously we have got limited time.
Yeah.
As I said, guys, I would really love to come back and we do a part 2 where we talk about different stuff.
Love it.
But I'm really, just happy, and thank you guys for also like sharing your story. I think today most of us did get, a peek through a window of who you guys are, because sometimes when you see people and their success, which you are, congratulations on being part of the Black Voices.
Yay! You know.
Thank you for paving the way, honey.
We paved the way.
Thank you for paving the way.
Yes, I was actually class of 2021. You guys are class of 2022.
I remember watching your video and like, woo, YouTube Black on air. Okay.
You know you're with me.
Girl, now we join the club. Like, yes.
You know the benefits that comes with it.
Honey. Okay. And they are still coming.
And
Hey?
they definitely are. So I think that that was actually huge. That the
was
platform itself actually
Wow,
recognizes you. Like, I was so grateful. I won't lie.
Right.
And so I'm
You're
really,
a
I was
star,
so happy
babes.
to see
You're a
you
star,
guys.
babes.
Yes, I was just so happy to obviously see
Let's
that you
make
guys
the
are
money,
also part.
honey.
Let's make that coin. But yeah, guys, like as I was saying, that sometimes it's easy to assume that just because someone is successful, they're where they are, like they got it easy. You understand? And so I love the fact that you're not perfect. Thank God.
Yes. We are humans. We are human, man.
Have you ever met someone that has never gone through anything in life?
honey.
No.
And it's just like,
Boring.
oh my God.
No. Like, who are you now?
It's okay. I just
So
can't
boring.
relate. But yeah, anyway, I do hope that the takeover was actually worth it for you guys. And do comment down below so that we can have a part 2, because I'm really interested in a lot more stuff.
There's a lot.
And yeah,
There's
I don't know.
more.
I'm gonna have to sign out because this was a takeover. So from me, Boldly Owamie and the Centtwinz, it's bye for now. I will see you guys next